Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about the film That Wonderful Urge, which is an American film produced in 1948, starring Tierney and Tyrone Power. It is about a very rich heiress called Sarah Foley, and she was upset because the gossip journalists, they were writing very unflattering articles about her, gossiping about her life, and she was really fed up with this situation. One day she met a young journalist who was posing as a small town journalist, and they both got friends, and she ended up talking about herself. The journalist really liked her and found Sarah down to earth and decided to write a flattering article to his newspaper about her. However, this journalist, he wasn't who Sarah thought he was. It was a journalist who used to be a war correspondent, and one of the journalists who had previously written those unflattering articles about her. So he posed as someone that he actually wasn't, and he has already said bad news to her in the press already. However, what Sarah didn't know is that after this journalist, his name was Thomas, after Thomas met her in person, he had a very good impression of her, and he would really write a good article about her. However, Sarah realized that she was fooled, and in a hurry, she decided to ruin his career by saying that she had married this journalist and had given him $1 million. Of course, that this gossip created lots of problems to the journalist. He lost his job, people were laughing about him, his genuine girlfriend was, of course, very upset with him. Many people started to flatter him overnight because they thought he got rich. He was the husband of a millionaire, the daughter of the owner of a big grocery store, and blah, blah, blah. And he had many problems with that. And of course, that Thomas didn't accept the situation. He lost everything in his life. And he decided to prove that he wasn't married to Sarah after all. However, he couldn't do it on his own. And he decided to look for Sarah and ask her to say to the press that it was a lie. They weren't married. And when Thomas finally got to meet Sarah, she said, "No, I will not say to the press that it's a lie. We are married." And she decided to move on with her revenge. And Thomas, who was in a difficult situation, he started to take revenge on Sarah by annoying her completely. He found out where she lived. He went with her to a party attended by her very rich, very wealthy friends. And of course, it was a huge embarrassment to her. He behaved in a very erratically way, and he tried to live in her mansion. And he said that he would stop doing all that as long as she says to the press that they never got married after all. However, Sarah was stubborn and said that she would not do this. And Thomas tried to convince Sarah in many ways. Sometimes she told him that she would go to the press and say it was a lie, that they never married, but she didn't do it. And there were many misunderstandings. They even ended up being arrested because they started arguing in public. And then they created a mess in a bar. They started attacking each other. The police came, arrested they both, and it was another scandal in the newspapers because husband and wife reportedly fought during their honeymoon, and it was an even bigger misunderstanding. Up to a point, Sarah realized that she had gone too far and truly wanted to go to the press and say that she and Thomas had never married. However, by an unfortunate coincidence, Thomas was very, very angry. He couldn't stand that anymore, and he decided to sue Sarah, to take her to court on grounds of defamation. And when Sarah realized that Thomas was going to take her to court, she gave up telling to the newspaper that their marriage was a lie. And of course, the lawsuit was judged. And they started accusing each other, and Thomas even said that if he was truly her husband, that he was supposed to manage Sarah's money, and they started arguing. It was a genuine mess in the court. And of course that the judgment was in the press and blah, 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 blah. At some point, Sarah, when she realized that Thomas would take some of her money, she wanted to have the supposed marriage annulled. And then her husband, Thomas, said that it wasn't possible. And Sarah said, yes, it's possible to annul because the marriage was never consummated, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, that Thomas realizing that, and they both knew that they liked it, they loved each other. They were both, Sarah and Thomas, were aware of that. And then Thomas tried to consummate the marriage. So he went to Sarah's house, talked to her. Actually, they had a fight in the beginning, but then they talked. They realized that they loved each other and that they both truly wanted to be together. And then Thomas asked, by the way, because at some point when they met, Thomas fainted. And he asked Sarah, did we really marry? And of course, they hadn't married before. And then Sarah said, okay, for you to get satisfied, we are going to marry again. And then Thomas said, yes, it will be good for our children. Of course, that it would be their first marriage after all. There would be no marriage again. It would be the marriage. And then they realized that they wanted to be together. It's a typical romantic comedy, a screwball comedy with fast dialogues, fast pace, and it has a very good and famous cast. It is funny, it is entertaining, and it shows romantic love in a different way. That passive, aggressive, I love you, I hate you thing. It's good, it's interesting, and it is sweet. And I think you're going to like this film. That's all for now, folks. See you.